All right. Well, hello, and welcome everyone to our BG5 Live. Finally, Chris would say too, finally, we've gotten to trait 30, surrendering to fate. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. So today is February 18th, 2020. This is episode number 41. And again, what we're going to be focusing on today is trait 30, the fates. So before we jump in and get started, let's say hello to our panel. So hello, and welcome, Chris.
Hey, hi everyone. Welcome. We survived trait 49. That. Oh, I did. Maybe you did too. I'm so excited to be here. Yay. Welcome everyone. It's been a hell of a week.
Yes. Finally, the 30. And how about for you? Hello, Natalie. Welcome.
Yes, I'm fine. It's fun. It feels much better.
Mm-hmm.
I also came out of a tense week, but yeah, cool. I'm happy to be here. Yeah.
Yay, great. And unfortunately, Lavina's not feeling well today. We're really bummed because she has 30 as part of her life work. So it was just her birthday. So happy birthday, Lavina. I'm sorry you can't be here with us. So I think it was just a couple of days ago it was her birthday. So shout out and happy birthday and feel better. And let's jump in and get started. So again, a huge welcome to everyone who is joining us live in our Facebook Live Zoom room, and also those of you who are live on Facebook. Give me one moment here. All right, there we go. All right, so let's take a look at where we've been and what we've finally made it to. So we took a look back on January 22nd is when we moved into trait number 41, the dreamer. That's really the start of the new year. That's the start codon. That's where things begin. However, remember, it wasn't about starting. We were still waiting. Then we went through the trait 19 of social needs. This was the final thrust of pressure and entering into the new cycle, the last trait in transformation. So we took a look at 19 and we crossed over, you see the little red line, we crossed over that line over to trait number 13 with the listener. This is learning from the past, and this is the first trait of initiation where the purpose is fulfilled through mind, right? So now we're focused on the mind here. And last week, we took a look at trait 49. We took a look at principles and revolution. So if you had kind of a tense week last week, that's where we were at. So this is the tribal emotional wave. You know, that ratchets up, and that can explode and then reset. So you may have experienced some of that last week. So this is purpose also fulfilled through the mind. And now, in a sense, things can finally start to move forward. So now, today, we're in trait 30. We're actually at the end of trait 30 now. And this is where the fates take hold. It actually moved into trait 30 on February 13th. And this is collective desire. This is the purpose fulfilled through the mind. And this is really about surrendering to the fates. And when we're talking about, this is what we talk a lot about is trusting our decision-making strategy. And in many cases, really trusting our decision-making strategy is really about, surrendering to the fates, surrendering to what is, and then being able to, operate from that place, as opposed to getting all caught up with what should be, what shouldn't be, with our expectations, etc. So any first words before we dive into what trait 30 is all about? Yes, Chris.
Yeah, I was just thinking about this. It's what you were just saying. It's going back to our decision-making strategy and responding, if we're a builder, to what is versus what we think it should be, and all of that. That's really what the fates are. It's like we can create and envision all of these things, and we can imagine all of these things, but then there's also what is. And this is really being able to hold a vision and at the same time respond to what is happening right now. depending on your design and your decision-making strategy. Waiting for the invitation, waiting to respond, waiting for the initiation, waiting to be to initiate. So.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, beautifully said, Chris. Anything you would like to add, Natalie?
No, it really feels like a week of surrender, which also, if you don't fight it, huh? Then it's giving quite some peace as well.
Yes.
So if you fight it and you're trying to get your expectations, which is the other side of surrendering, then it's a hard and tough ride, and you will come up against resistance. Whereas if you surrender and just see where fate will take you, it can be very interesting.
Yeah, very interesting and very, very magical. Like it's really surrendering to allowing life to unfold.
I really like salsa dancing, and I usually go out every weekend, but I hadn't been for a while. Like all of this, everything that's on the slide, I didn't go out. I was like, and every weekend, no. And then this weekend, all of a sudden, it was actually on Friday evening. I said, well, you know what? Let's go. And then I went, and also Saturday. So I was like, woo! All of a sudden, it all opened up.
Yes, exactly. I think I forgot which BG5 live it was, where it's kind of behind the gates, right? The horses behind the gates, waiting. It's like now the fates have opened up. We're now off to the races, right? So for many of us, we may have gotten our energy back. Again, if you don't, I think what Natalie just said was really beautiful and really perfect. If you don't resist, right, what is, then you can allow what is to just be, and there's flow and ease and fun, and dancing involved there too. So let's take a look at trait 30. The trait 30 is about fate. Another way to think of, some people have said, well, what does that mean, the fate, or what does it mean, fate? It really is, in a sense, about surrender, right? Ultimately, this is about surrendering to fate, not trying to push it, not trying to force it, not trying to make it happen, not trying to make it match your expectations. Just as Chris was saying, just allowing what is. So it's about life is not what you expect it to be. It is what you allow it to be. So it's really about allowing, it's about surrendering, and it's freedom recognized as an illusion and limitation accepted as fate, right? Because in a sense, with the fates, we can't control it, right? It's something that's beyond our control. We have no choice. And so in order to prosper, in order to move forward, in order to just, have that freedom, it's almost like, again, freedom recognized as illusion and limitation accepted as fate. It's sort of this, it almost seems or sounds opposite, but it's almost like in accepting the limitation, we have freedom, right? Accepting fate, we have, in a sense, that sense of freedom where we don't have resistance. It's the emotional awareness that lies between hope and pain. So this is connected to emotional intelligence, and it's the collective emotional intelligence. Again, it builds an expectation and it can crash, right, in despair and disappointment. So it's this hope, this expectation that builds, and again, that crash of disappointment, which causes the pain. This is also the fear of the fates, right? Not knowing what's happening, trying to control things. How many of us try to control the outcome of things, or try to control the direction of our life, or try to control other people, or try to have control? This is, the fear of the fates is, in a sense, not having control. It really is, in a sense, just letting go. Whoops. That's nice. And so it really is, you know, kind of taking a look at the fear that's behind it is the fear of the fates, and how many of us are afraid of the fates that we're so much in our head trying to figure it out, as opposed to just allowing things to happen. Anything
yeah,
that,
said.
yeah.
And it is easier. I recognize in myself after a few years being in BG5 human design, it's easier to trust the fates and that they really bring you where you're supposed to be, and etc. And to trust your decision-making strategy, which in essence is kind of trusting in fate, like your body is telling you where to go, what to do, whether or not to engage, which is extraordinary. In the beginning, you go like, you want to have a reason for it. You want to have the perfect argument to do or not do something. Whereas if you have, being us 3B builders, when you have a response and it really feels like something, then the fates are, you know, kind of telling you to go there. But also the other way around, that if it's if in the case of a builder, then don't go there, you know, even though it may look like something like really tempting, a job or a relationship or somewhere to move or whatever you are looking into. Don't how do you say, do you have a saying, don't the fates?
Don't tempt them.
Yeah, don't tempt the fate. Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Which, you know, in a way, this trait is about that temptation. And it's also, you know, along what you were saying, Natalie, is that it's like because this is in the emotional or experiential, abstract collective, it is about how it feels and our attachment to how it's going to go. And when we don't have an awareness between what we desire and our attachment for it, then we have a fear that we won't get it, or that it won't come in the way that we desire it. And then we think that the fates are not for us, but against us. We try to take control and take matters in our own hands. And it's because it feels so intense, you know? There's that pressure coming from drive and stamina, pushing up through the 41 to the 30.
Yeah.
To be satiated, to that vision, to come to its, you know, the way it's going to go. And we have to be aware that our attachment to it looking a certain way is what gets us in trouble. It's not the thing. It's always our mind.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. You know, and it's so interesting, you know, the beginning of this year, you know, started in the 41, which is on the other side of the 30, right? And it's also about contraction. It's like about all of these possibilities, but it's actually limited down and contracted into one, right? And then the fates take hold. And so
those were the horses waiting.
Right, exactly. And so, you know, we were up in that, you know, the gate, and the 30 has opened the gate. And there's the surrender, you know, just like Chris was talking about, just the surrender to allow it to unfold the way that it needs to unfold. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, think about horse racing, just to keep using this analogy. It's like, okay, you're like, okay, whose horse looks good? Who's looking good? You know, and you maybe use your intuition or, you know, a little instinct to choose, maybe use your logical mind to choose which horse. But as soon as they're out of the gate, you know, it's fair game. You don't know who's gonna what, and that's what makes it exciting. That's what makes it thrilling. That's the part, is like, it's either exciting or thrilling, or it is a death spiral of this freaking sucks and I never want to experience it again. It's, you know, which way are you looking at it? Which way are you approaching it? Which way are you engaging with it?
Yeah, exactly. And also, since Lavina isn't here, I also wanted to send out an invitation for anyone who's here in our Facebook Live. If there's something that resonates with you that you would like to share, that you would love to contribute, we would love to have you. All you have to do is raise your hand. And also, if you're in our Facebook Live, If you want to type something in, Natalie can read that as well. So I just wanted to put that shout out and that invitation as we go through this as well. So I wanted to take a look and kind of focus on this trait. We're actually at the end of this sort of this time of being in the fate. So we're actually at quality 6, which is about enforcement. And this is the discipline to maintain right action. And so the elevation is the assertiveness to purge the inferior while accepting to lead the weak. This is the strength to eliminate negative feelings. And then on the challenging side, this is the inherent peacefulness that too often will abide in the presence of inferior forces. And this can also be the lack of strength and eliminating negative feelings. Now, the reason that I put this picture here, because this is often what we talk about both in BG5 and human design, is being the passenger. And you can see that this is, someone, in the back seat putting their arm out the window. And it's just like, take me the fates take me where I belong. Right. So it's the assertiveness to purge inferior while accepting to lead the weak. This is the strength to eliminate negative feelings. So this is part of what we were talking about with the whole resistance, right? The negative feelings come when either we have expectations that are not fulfilled, or we're coming up against resistance, right? Because we're just not allowing things to be, right? And, to eliminate those negative forces and really, be the passenger, trust the fates, make decisions, etc. And the challenge is, the lack of strength to eliminate the negative feelings, right? So it's in a sense being very attached, wanting it to turn out a certain way, wanting it to be a certain way, etc. So, it's interesting, as we take a look at enforcement, the discipline to maintain right action, so it's the right action within what is versus what we think should be there. Right. And this is really ultimately, what being a leader is all about, is that discipline, to maintain that right action in being present to what is. Anything you would like to add, Chris or Natalie?
Natalie, do you see the comments that are on the BG5 Live page? I love, Sandy wrote, I have fate 30 quality 4.
Yeah, exactly.
I love that fate 30. I think that's good. I like that. I know you probably meant trait, but it's great.
Yeah.
Fate 30.
Fate 30
is awesome. I love that.
Yeah, and there is another one. Can you read it, please, Chris? Since you are,
yeah.
I just have to move.
So Lisa, who has 30.4, also, she says, I have fallen back into my flow, moved in getting lost in all the things I love to do creatively. I felt a little stuck in my mind for a while there, but have moved through it and let the emotion be in motion, recognizing the constricted feelings, honoring them, watching them. Oops. And just, darn it. Sorry, it went away. I can't see it anymore. Shoot. I can't see it. I can't finish reading it.
Yeah.
Something happened on the fates took over. Totally screwed up my screen.
Recognize the constricted feelings, honoring them, watching them, and just falling back into me and my body. I am the creator of my happiness.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, trait 30 is one of the traits that I do have. And you can see it's unconscious because it's red. And I have it, this is judge and discipline. And so I was just kind of giggling for myself because this is something that, has happened a lot, especially in the past weeks. We're in the process of getting ready to launch our new website. And so it's kind of getting everything up and running. And it's just, it's just a lot of stuff. So it's just kind of like, okay, don't get in your head about it. Just allow things to unfold. And so it's interesting that it's in my judge and discipline, because if I don't surrender to the fates, that's where, that's where I get disciplined. That's where, where things don't work out when I try to force something. So it's very interesting. I hadn't really paid attention to where it is, but now it makes so much sense.
I love it
every time I don't do that, that's definitely where I find myself up against the wall and being disciplined, being stuck, being not able to move forward. So it's very, very interesting. Cool. Well, and when we take a look at, I thought this was interesting too. I just Ferrari was born today, so he has the 30.6, so the 30 in the trait 6, or in the quality 6, and so Ferrari was a race car driver and founder of Ferrari. I was just watching. We just saw it the other night, the Ford versus Ferrari. So, but if you think about what comes to mind when you think about Ferrari, right? If we take a look back here, right, the assertiveness to purge inferior while accepting to lead the weak, the strength to eliminate negative feelings, right? We think of Ferrari as, one of the top race cars, right? This perfected race car. And if we take a look at, so Ferrari was an Italian motor racing driver and entrepreneur, and he, subsequently was the founder of the automotive marquee of Ferrari. And the life work theme for the 60 quality 6 is industry. So you are a human dynamo, very busy working, building and bonding to satisfy the underlying motivation for humanity's progress, a burning desire to feel the emotional potential in each new experience. Right. So think about that. Again, I always find it fascinating in pulling up, a celebrity, or pulling up someone that we may all be familiar with, a business owner, etc., and kind of seeing how, that brand is still around, the Ferrari, and how it really is this, the emotional potential of each new experience. Think about, car racing, right? It is this rush of adrenaline, this rush of energy, this dynamo building an industry, around racing. So it really fits to what his design is all about.
I was just thinking about what you're saying there, and thinking about profit potential coaching, and thinking about brands and things that have been created that have a long life, and it has to do with the energy that they were created from and through. And so when I'm thinking about myself or my clients or whatever, and they're like, God, I'm doing this thing, but it just doesn't seem to be flowing. And it's like, because there is a natural, authentic expression that wants to come through you. And when it does, it creates something that lasts. And I mean, really just look at, and even some of the actors and actresses that we have had on here, when you pull them out, we look at the role that they played. It's like how they couldn't have found the more perfect person to play that role, because energetically they're so in alignment with it. And then think of people who've played roles that it wasn't that great. It wasn't that great. You're like, no, that person just, why did they pick that person? That doesn't fit. The movie doesn't laugh. It just is like, meh. It's like, meh.
Yeah.
And it's just such a great example of the energy that we put into that is our signature from our creation, has the signature of who we are. That's what makes it freaking great. And so many people are trying to copy what everyone else is doing in order to, because it looks like it'd be successful. And that's like, I'm so passionate about that around people. When you are doing what you're meant to do, there is absolutely no one else who could do it like that. Do other people make race cars? Absolutely. You know, but like, it's like everybody knows what a Ferrari is. Like, it just,
right.
You know. Anyway, that was my little profit potential rant. Excuse me. I'm passionate about it.
Oh, so funny. Yes, Lisa says. Anyway, we have quite a few people on the Facebook Live that have trade 30. And an interesting observation from, I have to scroll back, from Stephanie. She has the 30 in the 6th quality, and she's saying, it seems like it is more about others than myself. It seems more like of humanity as a whole. So in essence, when you come to trade to quality 6, the 6th line quality is about, you know, seeing beyond, is about towards, you know, what's next, the next phase, the next whatever. So it is kind of, I found it a very interesting observation from Stephanie.
Well, it's in a collective strength as well. Yeah. So it's already inherently collective, and then you have trait 6 on top of that. And again, it's just, it deepens the energetic frequency of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Chris, do you know Raspreet Sago?
Yeah, I do know Ras, yeah.
Yeah, so she wrote, just that it's so interesting because it's exactly what has been going on for me the last couple of days. I found myself feeling stuck and frustrated, and I see how trait 30 might have something to do with it. I have the 30 in the 3rd line quality. And Chris and I were talking about what my expectations were and how to detach so I can allow myself to do things just because it brings me joy. So,
yeah. And you've been doing a great job with that, Raz. I love it. So awesome. It's going to get easier, my friend. It will get easier.
Yeah.
The energies are opening up, right?
Yeah. And Sammy has it, let's see, well, in some qualities, well, there's a lot of talking. And so I asked her, so how do you observe it, right? And she says, my passenger is learning how to not be, how to be a backseat driver and let the driver usher me where it will. Yeah. And Lisa says, I'm feeling the desire to join in on some BG5 action, aka study, or maybe it's just to hang out with you girls more.
Party's happening here.
Yeah, so wonderful. Yeah, so you can, we'll share a little bit about that, Lisa, and yeah, sure. And you know, just enjoy the ride here, the Ferrari ride.
Exactly. You know, and I thought it again played perfectly into, you know, the car, being, you know, riding in the back seat. And I love what Chris talked about, just tying into the profit potential and the branding. You know, again, we try so hard to make things happen. Yeah. I was just talking about this in my BG5 certification course, where we're talking about how to deliver overviews for a builder. And builders are not designed to go out and make things happen. You know, so what do you do if you're not designed to go out and make things happen, right? It's just watching what comes to you, because when we're trying to make things happen, oftentimes we have blinders, right? And we can't see opportunities that are literally right in front of us. And the beauty of surrendering to the fates is that, in a sense, it removes the blinders. It allows us to open up. It allows us to see what's around us now, present in the moment, not what we think should be, what we, you know, not because of the fears of the past or anything else. We can see what is there. So, for example, as a builder, which I was teaching today, is you can truly respond, right? Or you can hear the recognition and you can hear the invitation as the advisor. Or you can get moved into action as the innovator, right? Or you can see what belongs or doesn't belong as the evaluator, right? So it really is about just allowing the fates to take hold, and how that ties into what Chris was talking about. I just kind of got the aha too, is that, we are all designed to be unique. And when we allow that uniqueness to flow through us,
Yes.
as opposed to trying to force it, right? There's something intangible that's there that only you can provide, right? Like the Ferrari brand that's lasted for a very long time, that everybody knows. There's an energy behind it that was brought forth, through Enzo Ferrari, and that it's still alive today, even though he's passed away. And so bringing that of who we are forward, so that there is, in a sense, this lasting resonance, that we continue to impact others, even when we're not here. And that's not for everyone, right? It depends on the faith. Some people are, some people aren't, but it's when you live there's no competition. There's
Zero.
there's no, that only you can do you. And you're here for a reason. The very fact that you're on this planet, right, is because of the fates. Because your mom happened to meet your dad and, happened to conceive you. You are here because of the fates, right? There are no accidents. And so how do you take what already is and just live it to the fullest? And a lot of it is just being able to surrender to your own design, surrender to following your decision-making strategy, surrender to really allowing life to unfold as it needs to unfold. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, it is. It sure is. And you just said it, you're like, only you can do you. And most people aren't.
Yeah.
They're not. And they're and spending a lot of money, time, and energy trying to control it and figure it out. And I, Raz and several of my clients who are builders that were working with their sacral and really responding, it's so interesting to me. I keep getting these messages and posts that are saying, I've been trying to figure it out, and getting frustrated, and then I surrendered and really just responded and went with the flow, and everything changed. Everything worked out. Like, I got clients, I got this, and I'm like, yes, do nothing. I mean, you know what I mean? It's not totally doing nothing, but it's like, stop trying to force it. There's no need.
Yeah, and I just was taking a look, and I also have trait 30 in my unconscious values, and I have it in the fifth quality, and the fifth quality is called irony. And I just went in to take a look what it says, and it is the strength derived from knowledge and experience that 2 steps forward and 1 step back is still 1 step forward, because that's how life develops, right? So the fates we may want to, I'm trying to teach this to my daughter as well, and consequently saying it to myself, right? So like, you have a goal, and or have, maybe you think of something, but you only are happy when you're there, but value the process. And if you are in the process taking 1 step, 2 steps forward, 1 step back, okay, well, whatever, we with the website right now, so it is 2 steps forward, 1 step back, and continuing on, but we're getting there. So that's also the fates. Like, it's never a straight line. It's
yeah, exactly. Beautiful.
So true.
Oh, I love this. Every time we go through one of these traits, I see things at a whole different layer, a whole different level. I think as Natalie was saying, that if I take a look at my 30, it's also in quality 5 as well. So again, you know, trusting that even though it feels like, you know, maybe we've gone back, and then you know, it's still one step forward, and we keep going forward, and we keep going forward. And Natalie and I talk about it a lot, even with, you know, stuff that we're working with and developing, and then it feels like, it's never going to happen, and then finally, boom, it happens, and then we have it. So it's a whole process. It just you know, it sometimes takes time, and sometimes, you know, sometimes the imagination on the other side is like, oh, we can have this done in a week, you know, and then it takes months and years. It's like, oh.
Yeah, and again, I'm going to repeat one of Chris's phrases that I really love. You underestimate what you do in a month, and overestimate what you do in a month, and underestimate what you do in a year. I've been recently actually in my yesterday's study group talking about with the BG5 Business Institute. We now are there for 4 years, in our 5th year. And at the beginning, or we have all of these ideas and still do all of this imagination in 41, and then you think, oh gosh, there's still so much more we want, we desire, etc. But then looking back, it's only been 4 years, right? Look at what we've all accomplished so far. It's amazing, and the courses that we added, and etc. They're really cool. And we have some more. So Stephanie's asking, what happens when you are a control freak, but a classic builder? What are some practicals of letting go?
Yeah.
It all comes down to really listening to your gut feeling. Is it not doubting it, or And what usually happens, if you have a gut no, but you do want to do it, for instance, then you think of a lot of reasoning. So you go like, yes, but it's good money, and at least then I'm secure, and I will have some sales, and all of those. If there's a lot of mind chatter with it, let it go. It's just, and really also for a control freak, I'm a perfectionist, so it's a little different, but still the same, or the same kind of stuff. Once you've experienced a few times that it really works like this, you can relax into it. So it takes practice. It takes the experiment to see how it unfolds, and yeah, for you to be able to trust your gut response. But it is magical once,
It is magical, and Stephanie, I who is a classic builder, cyclical gut person, this is that dance between, you know, we are step by step, we create step by step, and we only really need to know what the next step is. And that's also playing and dancing with the fates, and trait 30 is a big one in your design. And so this is playing with the fates. Instead of trying to control those bitches, it's like letting them, like, it's play with them, you know what I mean? It's like you can't know everything. And so it's sometimes when we're classic builders and even express builders, we don't know, we can't see the next step, and we're like, I got all this energy, I want to do something with it, I got to do something. And if we go, hold on, the universe is saying, just hang tight, I got to move a few things around here, and then I'll give you the next step. Just hold on. That's usually when I say, go bake a cake, go to yoga, go for a walk, go pet your dog, go do something where you can expend some of that energy, but not be so distracted, or say yes to something and commit all your energy over there. It's like, just kind of do something a little bit light so that you can wait for that next clear step for you to use that energy. So hopefully that also helps.
Yeah, and then Raz is having a conversation about it. I feel it's like being a walking, talking pendulum, and you're literally using your body as a tool to say yes or no. Yep. And then just take the next step and wait for that yes or no, and then another step. and so on. So easy when you think of it that way. I wonder how much ease I can have implementing this now, and then, you know, smiley face.
Yeah, I love that. So good. It is, it's true. We're like a big pendulum where we can, you know, we're always working. We're energy, just we're feeling that energy. And the sacral response is all about, do I have energy for this right now or not?
Yep.
That's it. It's super simple. There's nothing really more complicated than that.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, I love it. I often look at it, it's sort of following breadcrumbs. It's like,
Yeah.
you know, the step by step is like, what is the next breadcrumb? You know, all you need to do is find what the next breadcrumb is.
Yeah.
Once you get to that breadcrumb, you see the next, and then the next, and then the next, and then the next. And then that's the magic of life unfolding. I love it. I love it. Very cool. Well, thank you everyone for this great discussion. I love all of the comments that we've had in our Facebook Live. Really fun. So just to wrap things up, just a couple of things as a reminder, we are in the process. Very excited. Our new website will be launching. I think it's going to be next week. That's sort of the plan right now, and I think we're right on track. So be watching out for that. It's going to be very exciting. Again, if you are new to BG5 and human design, you want to learn more about your own career type, you can get a free report at the BG5businessinstitute.com. Also, remember our courses start in January, May, and September. So we already have our January courses underway, but you may be just in time to kind of, as we transition over to our new website, to get on board for our May classes. So look forward to seeing you in one of our upcoming courses, including the Profit Potential workshops as well. So, and again, to find past episodes, you can find our past episodes on YouTube. So if you want to go through any of these or you missed any, you can find them currently on YouTube. They'll be on the new website as well, somewhere where we're still working on that piece. So look forward to seeing you there. So thank you, each and every one of you. And I would love to hear our final comments to wrap up today's session. And what should people walk away with in taking a look at surrendering to the fates?
Yeah. Just surrender to life and let the magic unfold in front of you. It's beautiful if you are able to, you know, take the back seat and just follow the breadcrumbs.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you, Natalie. And Chris.
Yeah, one of the things that I really love about BG5 and human design and the work that we do here is truly helping people to discover what their purpose is. And that when you understand where you came from, where you're going, and the purpose that is sandwiched in between those two places, and actually the string of continuity between them in this experience, in this lifetime, and how you're designed to express that purpose, when dancing with the fates becomes much more fun. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, it can feel very much like, oh my God, what if I get it wrong? Or what if I don't, you know, what if nothing happens for me, or any of that? And that's been probably one of the most soothing, I would say, like a balm for my soul, is this sense of there is no competition. I can't screw it up. My design is doing me. As long as I stay out of my head and try to control it all, it works. And the thing about the BG5 and using this tool is it can show us very simply how to do that. And it doesn't take 10 years of therapy and analysis to do that. It's really that, you know, awareness and mechanics and trusting our decision-making strategy. And so that's what I would just leave you with today, is that even if you're not sure what it is yet, you have a purpose. There is a reason for you to be here, and follow your decision-making strategy, and it will be revealed to you. And there are ways for you to have that and make money at it and express that purpose in the world and dance with the fates versus fighting them.
Amen.
And a
I
back
love
alley.
how we tied it back to dancing. I love it. Yeah, it really is. It really is that dance with the fates.
Yeah.
And that takes a deep level of trust. And you know, the world is crazy nowadays. I mean, if you watch the news, it can just make you mad and crazy and, you know, feel like everything's falling apart and the world is falling apart. And, you know, then you can get all caught up in it, and just realize and relax, take a deep breath, and know that everything is happening for a reason, right? And don't get caught up in all of the, you know, all of the hysteria. Just take a look at, okay, what is true for me now? That's all that really matters. What is true for me now? And follow those breadcrumbs, you know, surrender to the fates, and life will take you exactly where you need to be. And that is exactly what Chris said so beautifully, is really what allows you to simply be you, live your design. And when you're a full expression of you, right, that's what makes life worth living, right? So enjoy the fates. Welcome to the new year. We're now off to the races. Woohoo!
Let's do it. Let's get her done, people.
All right. Yes. All right, everyone. Have a fabulous week. It's great to hear from all of you in our Facebook Live, and those of you who attended live, and those of you listening via the recording. Great to have you all here. And we'll see you next week. Bye, everyone.